Mel Harris, Garbagemanpiper, coming to you from the studio, my patio. Well, got a couple things I need to get done tonight. One of those is I've got a couple yabos, but I think I'll do those after I do what I really want to do, and that is chooch a cigar. But I've been thinking about this for a while, and I know there's probably quite a few, well, like me, I don't know squat about really cigars. But I was given this cigar. It's an Ashton, imported, made by hand. I couldn't tell you anything else about it. Don't know anything else about it. This isn't necessarily a review. It's how to maybe rate a cigar. And so what do I know about rating a cigar? Well, early on, when I thought, hey, you see these ratings, 95, 90, and you're like, what are those about? I found a book that allows you to, it helps you rate a cigar based on you, not on somebody else. And I found this book, and this isn't a plug for them. This is just where you get the book. But Cigars Daily Review Journal. And this one was put together by Tim. I used to watch his channel all the time. They're just prolific on their videos, so I backed off a little bit. But it just gives you an introduction, a little bit about how to review a cigar, review guidelines, presentation, tells you a little bit about presentation, what to look for in the presentation, maybe how you want to rate the presentation, smoking character, how the ash burns, and whatnot, flavor, maybe how to pick certain flavors and nuances out of it, flavor qualities, is it smooth, and then your overall impression. And so it's not a big book where you have to read all these pages. It basically is just an introduction. So you've got cigar tasting terms. Should you want to get on YouTube and really do this, do reviews and give you some things, nutty, oh, it's nutty, oh, that's roasted nuts, or whatever. Gives you some 10 cigar terms with definitions, should you want to learn the lingo. And then it gives you an example of a rating, basically a rating of how to rate. And this is an example about how to rate a cigar. And then at the bottom, what you do is you tape the label onto the page. So I can give you an example of one that I did. This one basically is an Arturo Fuente 858 Natural, which is a Cameroon wrapper. And you can see my notes. I basically smoked it on the patio, maybe gave a little bit about the temperature. It was, let's see, cigars, what the cigars were kept at, which could mean, are they spongy, are they firm, and why? And then just basically going through how I rated it. What was the wrapper? What was the presentation? What were the flavors that I was getting out of it? And I basically rated the Arturo 858 Natural, I rated it an 87. And I think what you're gonna find, if I was maybe to smoke one today, my tastes have changed a little bit. At the time, I was smoking strictly Cameroons. Had a few different types of cigars, some not so savory, not maybe so oily. But some of these, so anyways, so that you know, one of the tools I use is this heavy glass. Gay and I love to go to estate sales. And I couldn't figure out for the world of me what I wanted to use it for. I put pipes in it at one time, and then I realized, hey, you know, we smoke cigars in thirds, right? Well, at the end of the first third, if the ash hasn't fallen off, I'll basically place that in the first one and then the second ash. And what I'm able to see is, am I having to correct, you know, how level it burns? You know, is it burning evenly? I can tell you a little bit about a cigar, a little bit about what's in it, maybe even some of the quality, if it's calm, all things being even, right? So you're able to go back and look at that first third ash or the second third ash. And of course, you're going to have the third third in your hand at the time. So just really more than anything, wanted to share this book, Cigar Dailies. Now, it's about a $25 book, but I'm going to tell you that is a lot of cigars to review. I have reviewed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then I lost interest. That's a lot of cigars, though, to review for me. Normally it would have been, I used it on 3, and I'm like, done. I'm not interested anymore. But you know what? I've got 17 that I've done in here, and some of my favorites, again, the Cameroon Nub. Be careful, that one will knock you on your Komosiyama. Here's another one, the Rocky Patel Vintage 2003 Cameroon. Tasty. And then just some other ones, Monte Cristos. Another one I like is the Gilberto Oliva. So anyways, I have talked too much. I am going to basically turn this off. I'll be back. I'm going to light this up, but I don't want to waste the time getting into it. So I'm going to get into this thing, do some smoking, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, I'm back, and as you can see, it's a little bit darker than it was before. This video is not to review necessarily this cigar and all the nuances of it. I'm just not that far along in the cigar taste and all of that. It's mainly about this book and how it can help you understand cigars a little bit better. So basically, we've got presentation at the very first thing. And the first thing it wants to know about is wrapper. And it's allowing you to rate the wrapper in a 5. You can give it up to a 5. I rated it a 3. I felt like it just wasn't as smooth as some of the others. And it's purely speculative. I get to make the rules. So at the same time, you want to try and use consistency as you're learning throughout this book from cigar to cigar. I mean, this wrapper's nowhere near as smooth as the Arturo Fuente 858, but it has a different exterior wrapper. This is a Maduro cigar. It is not a nicotine hit. And by the way, so I picked this cigar up when I was in Colorado Springs, and I went in looking for pipe. That's where I normally stock up on some more of the rare pipe tobaccos. And up at Swag, that Swag tobacconist in Colorado Springs. And I asked the guy, I said, hey, listen, pick me out a couple of cigars. He goes, you know what? I've got one that will surprise you. He goes, it's a Maduro. And I went, you know, I really don't have time to smoke a cigar and be sick. And he goes, no, you're going to like this. So he pulled out 2 of those for me. Wasn't necessarily a cheap cigar, but now I'm understanding why. I think Ashtons are a little bit probably pricier. We are at the third mark. I was doing a video on some yabos while I was chooching this down. And as you can see, the ash is burning straight. The cigar is burning straight. I just hit it on something, knocked the ash down into my book, but I can save it and I can see it and I can tell, hey, I didn't patch it up or try and do anything with the lighter, and it just burnt nice white ash. So the next thing it wants you to rate is the band. Well, here's the band. I should have showed it to you while it was on the cigar because that's what the presentation is all about. It just looks like a white band with a black little stripe on it and, you know, a bullseye. It says Ashton on it. But when this is on the cigar, it really makes the band pop. So they're going to allow me to rate the band at a 4. I gave it a 3. I like minimalist type bands. I don't like them big old gaudy things. So again, all about preference. What do I like? It's my book. I'm rating them, right? So for the most part, it's my game. Firmness. I actually didn't do this cigar justice. I bought this cigar last Christmas season, and I just threw them in the humidor, thinking that maybe Richard and I would smoke them. I usually buy 3, one for him, one for me, one for the humidor. But I never got around to them. So they were sitting there in the plastic bag in the humidor, and shame on me. So it did not get the humidity that it needed. So the firmness, where the firmness is probably harder than it would have been if it was properly humidified. I gave it a 2. I didn't want to blame it too much for my bad. As far as oils, to be honest with you, I have never changed the oil in a cigar. I don't know where they would flip and put the drainage nut on it or anything. Just kidding. It really was a little bit too dry. So I didn't do the oils any justice on that. I still rated it a 1. Didn't forgive it too much because I don't know that oils necessarily evaporate, maybe to an extent. So where I'm at now is smoking characteristics. How did it light? Well, it was a little bit on the dry side, so it lit right up. And because I hit this so hard on the oils, you know, I'm not going to judge it. I'm going to give it a 5 for light. It lit right up. How is it burning? Well, it's burning a little bit off now. I like to try when I'm smoking maybe to turn the cigar just a hair, to rotate it. It seems that a lot, well, heat rises. But again, what the heck do I know? The burn, I'm gonna give it out of 10. You actually get 10 to choose from on the burn. I'm gonna give it an 8 on the burn. I'm not gonna hit it too hard for it being dry. That's not its fault. And as far as the draw, I'm going to give it a 7 on the draw. Actually, I'm going to give it a 6. So the draw is 8. So you can give it up to 8. I'm going to give it a 6. Then we go to flavors. This is where I kind of throw in the towel. I'm going to tell you, This is a very tasty cigar. It's not peppery by any means, but again, me being a Cameroon smoker, and I believe I told that guy, hey, you know, I like Cameroons. What do you have? Well, we really don't have a lot, but let me get you this Ashton Madero. And I went, oh, yeah, great. Well, now I understand what he's talking about. The retrohale is savory, which is what you're getting out of a Cameroon. It's smoking a lot. The retrohale is a lot like the Cameroon. As far as flavor, the first thing they want you to hit is consistency. Was the flavor consistent through the first and second and third? Well, we're only just getting into the second third. And I have to say, this is a really up my alley kind of Maduro. Not necessarily, sorry, the wind's kicking up a little bit and I got some Yabo stuff going on. So as far as consistency, I'm going to hold off on the consistency. The first third was consistent even though I wasn't focused on it. You really need to do these when you're not distracted. Well, you're talking about the ADHD kid. Distraction's my middle name. Squirrel. Oh, I'm just kidding. So I'm going to hold off on some consistency, flavor quality. Well, again, this is purely up to you. I like Cameroons. So I think I can already fairly rate this. I don't like rating cigars into the third just because of all the tars and whatnot that tend to settle down there towards the mouthpiece. So I'm going to go ahead and rate the flavor quality. They're giving you a 9. I am going to rate it a 7. Reality is, this thing not being properly humidified when I got it, and I pretty much botched this one up. Thank goodness I have another one. It's in there. It's being treated fairly. So I gave it a 7. As far as smoothness, to me, I think smoothness, I think creamy. I don't think peppery, but we are talking about flavor here. So smoothness, to me, it's what I look for. Savory, not overly peppery, even though I do like me some pepper. I like what I'm getting out of this. I would say, for as bad as this cigar's been treated, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 8 for smoothness. And reality is, this cigar probably could not produce to that level with the way it was treated. I mean, he stuck these bad boys in a Ziploc bag, handed them to me, and they've been in a Ziploc bag till now. Again, my apologies. All right, so overall impressions. We are not quite just this side of halfway. The first thing on the overall impression that they want you to look at is the quality of the blend. They give you 12 on that. So as far as quality of the blend, I'm going to hold off on the overall impression because I'm not smoked it all yet. So then you go to flavor progression. Does the flavor get better or does it get worse as you get through it? Or is it take a little bit to get going and then the second third, it's just magic, and then the third, it's takes a dump? Well, those are the things. You can make notes as to why you rated it what you rated it. Finish. How did the cigar finish? They give you a 6. It can rate up to a 6. Speed of the burn. How is it burning? It's burning at the speed I love. We'll see if that slows down at all. They give you a 5, up to a 5 rating there. And then the price. What was the price mark on it? I was a little bit surprised. I mean, granted, it's not bad. It's probably $10, $12 cigar. I haven't really priced it here locally, so I really don't know and haven't really looked for any. So that can move a little bit. I would say that it's priced right for what it is if it had been treated well. So I'm going to give it a 5 on price. That being said, I would love to grab one of these off CI if I could ever find one, which you probably never will. Shoot, for $6, bam, I'll rate that thing a full 5 all day long. But that wasn't the case, and I'm trying to be fair about this. So, anyways. I'm really enjoying it. Now, on that one, actually I retro held, but I got some nutty flavors on the tongue, which is unusual for me. I usually can't sense a taste that well. I am going to tell you that by now, being halfway through the second third, and just to tell you, I always keep some goodies on the table in case I start feeling a nick hit coming my way. And to this point, it has just been very enjoyable. We can go back and talk about some of these. As you're smoking the cigar too, it gives you something to focus on to really help you with the nuances of not only how it's burning, how it's smoking, the speed and all of that. It gives you kind of some homework you need to do, which for me, I need that focus. I need to be able to, I'm a list guy. I love lists. You want to get something done, you put it on a list, baby, and I'll spend all day working on it just to scratch it off. So let's go back through it. Wrapper, I gave a 3. The band, I gave a 3. Firmness, I gave a 2. And oils, I gave 1. So for presentation, it got a 9. That is higher than what I would normally probably rate a cigar. At the same time, I'm apologizing a little bit to the rating. It's not the cigar's fault. Sorry. This time of year when the wind blows, I can't breathe because there's all kinds of pollen and everything in it. What are you talking about, Mel? Smoke another cigar. Reality is, I breathe better when I'm smoking my pipe and cigar because it relaxes me, it relaxes my breathing, and it helps me focus on something other than just trying to suck air. You can see that it's burning. I didn't touch it up. I just let it burn. And for it being somewhat windy out here, it's doing very well. You can see that there are some stems, more stems than I would care to have in this cigar. There's a few little ones here. And you can feel them when you're in here. To me, I wouldn't call that a top-rated characteristic for a cigar, is to have stems in it, but you can see that's what a stem will look like as it burns. It's going to be a bit darker. All right, so as far as smoking characteristics, I gave it 5 out of 5 for the light. I gave it an 8 out of 10 for the burn, and I gave it 6 out of 8 for the draw. So we're talking about a 19 for a subtotal of 28 at this point. That's the other thing that's nice. I like to write. So I do, see, there it went. I knew I was going to do that. So here's the ash that fell off. I'm going to put it in the second third. Where was I? So I was showing you, I always will total this up and put it by the column. There isn't something there, so I totaled it up, put it by the column, and then I'll do this plus this equals that, and then I'll just do that all the way down, and then I already have my total when I get down to the bottom. So flavor, as far as consistency, for the sake of this review and showing it to you, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 9 for consistency. It really hasn't changed much, but it could change as we get closer to the end, and I'm getting long-winded on this bad boy. So we basically got consistency 7, flavor quality 7, and smoothness 7 for 21 on flavor. 21 and 28 is 49. The overall impression, the bottom line, I'm not going to be able to finish this. So what I'm going to do is stop it here, finish it up, finish the last part of the review, and hopefully I can get this all in under 25 minutes. Be back. Okay, we're back to wrap it up. We're right to the end. I've stabbed it. I don't smoke it past the fork. Let's wrap this up on the overall impression. Up to this point as a review, we're at overall impression. The quality of the blend, you get to rate it at a 12. I'm going to rate this at an 8. Here's the nice thing about being able to make notes. You can actually make notes on each third all the way down all the categories, except of course wrapper, band, and the basically the presentation. But the smoking characteristics, you can rate that by third. It's got lines next to it. See, it's got lines next to it, and you can see right down here where I'm basically rating the flavor progression, and I've rated it by thirds. I actually think the first third was more flavorful than the sixth, and then it kind of went downhill as we got into the second third. And what do I mean by that? It just got stronger as we got into the third third. So I rated flavor progression at a 6 out of 8. The finish, which I'm close enough, I think, to rate it a 6 out of 6. I think it's finishing strong. Again, my apologies for the way it was treated. Speed of the burn. It burned fairly fast. It's not a long smoke. So we're going to probably be about 25 minutes on this. This is about a 30-minute smoke. And again, we rated it 5. So overall presentation, that part of it, I gave it a 30 onto the 49 from the previous sections. I rated this cigar out of 100, I rated it a 79. It probably should have rated higher than that, but I think that's fair for what it is and what I did to it. So at the bottom, I will affix the label to it, but you can pretty much see I didn't make notes all the way through it because I was just busy doing other things, but you can rank almost every one of these on the lines by thirds as you smoke it. You can be making your notes in it. So all of that being said, the book is from Cigar Daily's Review Journal. I'm overly pleased with it because it's only got maybe 7 pages of writing. The rest of it's about reviewing cigars and giving you the format you need to do that. So with that, Just wanted to leave that with you. Garbagemanpiper saying, sweet chicken, baby, not a bad burn. Y'all be safe out there.